What's up, you guys? Welcome to another episode of Ask Alex, where this is a show where I take all of your questions and answer them here on this show. I'm your host, Alex Hampton, and today we have a jam-packed show for you guys today. I am so sorry I wasn't able to release an episode of Ask Alex yesterday, but it was a holiday, so I just want to spend time with my family and enjoy that day. Happy Martin Luther King Day to those who celebrate that holiday. So that is the reason why I wasn't able to put out a episode, but I am putting out an episode today, this Tuesday, January 21st, and there's a lot of great things to talk about. I got a lot of great questions over the weekend to see, what my thoughts on certain things, and I can't wait to dive into it. If this is your first time ever watching any of my videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, then hit that bell right next to it. That way you get all the notifications of every time I'm releasing a video here on my channel. Now, if this is your first time ever watching this show and you want your question or topic on this show, go ahead and send me an email at the askalexshow@gmail.com. That's the askalexshow@gmail.com. If you want your topic and or question here on my show, it could potentially be on here. Just submit me a question. I'll be more than happy to answer it here on my show. So now that we've gotten it out the way, let's go ahead and jump into the first question of the day. And the first question comes from a Yari Henson. And she writes, "Hey Alex, since Doolittle is not performing well at the box office, it's being reported that RDJ is coming back as Iron Man in the Black Widow movie. Do you think this is a smart move by RDJ?" Well, thank you for your question, Yari. So what you guys are not, if you guys don't know, there's this little movie called Doolittle produced by Disney that RDJ is in. And if you don't know who RDJ is Robert Downey Jr. But basically it came out this past weekend and not a lot of people really are feeling it. I think it did $22 million for opening weekend, and the budget for this film was like $150 million. So this was Disney's retelling of the Dr. Dolittle or the Dolittle character that we all know from the Eddie Murphy series. And this is RDJ's take on it. Now, I think it's cool that he's doing different things outside of the MCU, but do I think that he will go back to the MCU solely because of the underperformance of this movie? I really never thought he left, to be honest. Granted, if you haven't watched Avengers Endgame, we all know that Iron Man dies in that movie. But I always felt like that RDJ would still have a presence in the MCU. And this movie, Black Widow, takes place after the events of Captain America Civil War. So, or it's either after or before. So these movies, you can put RDJ in these different types of movies, whether they're prequels or he can come back as a ghost or a flashback or whatever. I never really thought he truly left the MCU. I do think he should continue doing other things. He did this movie called The Judge, which I saw, but at the same time, nobody saw The Judge. So, I think he still should continue doing different things. I don't think he's reliant to come back to the MCU. I think he would be great to see him in the Black Widow movie, but I don't really think he's reliant to coming back to the MCU. He's made a ton of money at the MCU. I'm sure he made money when he did this movie Doolittle. So I think, RDJ is fine if he chooses to go back or not. I don't really think the box office of this particular movie not performing well is the reason why he's gone back to do Black Widow, if this is a true story or not. But at the same time, he doesn't need to go back because, like I said, he has made a lot of money from the MCU. He's done other films. I'm sure he's going to continue to do other films. So I don't necessarily think that this is something that he has to be all worried about. Thank you for your question, Yari. Let's go ahead and jump into before we jump into the next question, what do you guys think? Jump into the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. Now that we got out the way, let's go ahead and jump into the next question. And the next question comes from a Larry Green. And he writes, "Hey Alex, did you see Ezra Miller's cameo in the Crisis crossover? I thought it was amazing to see the TV Flash and the movie Flash on screen together. What did you think about this Ezra Miller cameo? Well, thank you for your question, Larry. So if you guys don't know, the recent conclusion of the Crisis on Infinite Earth crossover aired this last week, and it basically showed us a cameo of Ezra Miller's Flash and the TV version, Grant Gustin's Flash, talking to one another. This basically solidifies that the DCEU is connected in a way to the TV versions of all the other DC characters. Like the DCEU has its own Earth, like all the other Earths, like with Titans, with Birds of Prey, with Doom Patrol, and all these other things. They all have their own Earths. By the way, I did enjoy the crossover. Here are my thoughts. It was cool to see Ezra Miller on screen. Ezra Miller's character didn't provide anything for this crossover. We literally see Ezra Miller and Grant Gustin touching each other's suits and saying, wow, this is cool. Or, whoa, is this cosplay? I mean, it was really cool to see. But Ezra Miller's Flash didn't give anything to Grant Gustin's Flash to help him solve what was going on in the crossover. They literally talked for like a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes, and that's it. And mind you, this scene was shot months after the crossover was done filming. Warner Brothers wanted to put this in the crossover, and they just wanted to make like a fan service moment, and that's what it was, a fan service moment. Again, I enjoyed seeing Ezra Miller in the crossover, but it didn't provide anything that was tangible for us to see in this crossover. As a whole, like for instance, I put it to you like this: the main enemy, the Anti-Monitor that they're facing, Ezra Miller's appearance had nothing to do with that. All it showed is that, okay, the DCEU is connected. It does excite me that we are going to potentially get a Ezra Miller Flash movie in the near future. We know that Ezra Miller is now still the Flash, but it doesn't excite me for anything else. Again, it didn't do anything to the cross. Like, you could have literally took that scene out of the crossover and the crossover would have still been fine. So, and as a whole, I enjoyed the crossover. I still think Crisis on Earth X was a better crossover than this, but I enjoyed the crossover as a whole. I'm seeing a lot of people say that all these cameos were pointless. I think that I won't say the cameos were pointless, but I will say that we had to see the cameos to see that there are other Earths in this Crisis on Infinite Earth. I will say the way they hyped up these cameos was actually kind of stupid. What I mean by that, when we heard reports that Titans was going to be in Crisis, right? Well, they were in Crisis, but they didn't provide anything. All we did was see their Earth die. That was it. Like, we didn't see Robin interact with the Green Arrow. We didn't see that. Although that would have been cool, we didn't see none of the Doom Patrol characters interact with the other, Arrowverse characters. We saw Doom Patrol, but we saw them die. That was it. And we saw them come back. So, I mean, it was important to see them, but it wasn't important enough to, I guess it didn't really provide anything to the story that ultimately defeated the enemy that they were facing. And again, it was cool to see Ezra Miller for that 2 minutes, but him being on screen didn't provide anything. It didn't provide anything at all. So that's where I'm at with that. What do you guys think? Did you guys like the crossover? Did you guys like seeing Ezra Miller? What did you guys think of the DCEU now finally connected to the TV universe? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Now that we've gone out the way, let's go into the next question, which comes from a Ariana Leaks. And she writes, Hey Alex, it looks like Disney is moving forward with a National Treasure 3. What are your thoughts on this development? Well, thank you for your question, Ariana. I'm excited. I'm super excited. I love the first one. I love the second one. I love the National Treasure series. I will say it's a long time coming because they've been trying to develop this movie for the last like 5 or 6 years, and it was on the shelf. It was in pre-production. Then they put it back on the shelf, and then Nicolas Cage said he wasn't sure if he wanted to do it anymore. Like there was so much stuff going on about National Treasure 3 that ultimately it just sat on the shelf for a while, and now it's being reported that they're developing a story, a script for this, and it seems like Nicolas Cage and the original cast want to come back and do a third one. If you have Disney Plus, the second and the first two National Treasure movies are on Disney Plus that you can watch, and I've seen the second one. I love the second one. I love the first one. So I'm very excited to see National Treasure 3. I love those characters. I can't wait to see where they're going to take their next adventure. To me, it's like a modern version of Indiana Jones. We're seeing these characters find this treasure, and we're learning a section of history that we didn't know about of America, which I think is actually pretty cool. So I'm super excited for a National Treasure 3 movie. I can't wait to see that. Thank you for your question. What do you guys think? Jump into the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. Do you think we should get a National Treasure 3 movie, or do you think it's just a waste of time? Let me know what you guys think. And now let's go ahead and jump into the final question. And the final question comes from a Earl Odom. And he writes, "Hey Alex, did you see Bad Boys for Life? If so, what did you think about the movie?" Well, thank you for your question, Earl. Yo, I saw this movie. I'll say this. I got a chance to watch this movie early. So I saw it. I got to see it. I couldn't really talk about it because I signed an embargo. But I got to see it early. And then I saw it again on Friday, the day it came out. And I loved this movie. The chemistry between Martin and Will Smith is spot on. If you like the first and second movie, it's literally a great continuation from the previous films. It's hilarious. It's action packed. We see Michael Bay in the movie, which is not necessarily a spoiler. I won't spoil too much in the movie. Michael Bay didn't direct this movie, but he makes a cameo in this movie. And I have to say that this movie is amazing. I was actually kind of hesitant to watch this movie because it had been 17 years since the second one. It's been a full 25 years since the first one. So when you come back to do sequels to pre-existing properties, things could be, can be kind of odd. It could be kind of, it doesn't seem to gel, like i.e. Rush Hour 3. Rush Hour 3 came out, and granted, the chemistry between Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan was great, but the movie was terrible, right? But when I look at Bad Boys 3, I mean, right from the opening scene, like the chemistry between Martin and Will is still there. It's hilarious. Martin is hilarious in this movie. The jokes that he does in this movie is actually spot on and funny. To see Will struggle with being Mike Lowry and having to deal with the main story is actually hilarious. And again, I won't spoil anything for you, but it was really cool to see this movie. I gotta put this in the vein of the Fast and Furious movies. This was like a fun popcorn movie. When I watched this movie, I had fun every minute of this movie. And I think that if you are a fan of this franchise, go see it. If you like the first two films, go see it. If you like one of those films, go see it, because the essence of Bad Boys is still there. The nostalgia of Bad Boys is still there. And I think that everyone who is a fan of Will Smith and a fan of Martin Lawrence should definitely go see this movie. You see new characters like the Ammo. They are prominent in this movie, which is really cool. Vanessa Hudgens looks amazing. The villain of this movie looks amazing. The reoccurring characters that come back, like the captain from the original films, is back. He's the same and he's amazing. Like, there's so many layers of this movie where you're just having a good time watching this movie. And if you are a fan of this franchise, I would recommend to go see it. I would definitely give it an 8 out of 10. The chemistry was there. The jokes was there. It was hilarious. The action was amazing. The story was amazing and very compelling. I wouldn't give it a 10 out of 10 because clearly there's some plot holes here and there. But at the same time, it is an amazing film, and I think that everybody should definitely go see. So thank you for your question. And that wraps my show today, guys. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Ask Alex. Please like, comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel where you get all the updates of every time I'm releasing a video here on my channel. And also go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/momentum media. Every dollar you donate helps us create great content here on my channel. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. And as always, you have a blessed day.